Namaskar. My name is Dr. Partha Majumdar. As we look forward to the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047, we face an intellectual dissonance. Our ambitions are futuristic, yet our strategic tools are often inherited from the 20th century Western capitalism, which may be insufficient for today's VUCA world. The National Education Policy 2020 mandates we leverage Indian knowledge systems, not out of nostalgia, but for strategic advantage. Today I present the Dharmic strategy. We view the Mahabharata not just as an epic, but as a colossal case study in statecraft and survival. We will explore how synthesizing battlefield pragmatism with modern theory creates resilient blueprint for Indian leadership. How does a smaller force defeat a global giant? In modern terms, the Kauravas used a cross leadership strategy relying on mass and attrition. For the Pandavas, engaging directly would have been suicide. Instead, they used a focused strategy, flanking maneuvers and niche targeting. Consider Arjun on the 14th day. He had a sunset deadline to kill Jayadratha. He had to bypass Drona, a high prestige but low strategic yield target. This is the Pareto principle in action. For modern India, Jayadratha represents our critical success factors like high precision manufacturing or digital public goods. We must ruthlessly bypass the dronas of legacy distractions to succeed. The ancient vyuhas or battle formations were not static shapes. They were dynamic portfolio management systems, identical to the BCG matrix. Arjun was a star asset requiring investment. Bhishma was a defensive cash cow. We must learn to manage our corporate portfolios with this dynamic agility. Furthermore, consider the astras, the celestial weapons. In the Brio framework, they represent resources that are valuable, rare, inimitable. The Pandavas won because they spent their exile in R&D acquiring these proprietary assets. For us, this validates Atmanirbhar Bharat. We must build unique intellectual property, not just provide generic services. Strategy fails if the leader collapses. At the start of the war, Arjun faced executive burnout. Krishna's intervention, the Bhagavad Gita, was the ultimate executive coaching session. He didn't teach archery, he fixed the mindset, reframing stress through purpose. Finally, we address dharma. In business, this is not religion, it is a brand equity and stakeholder trust. Duryodhana's unethical strategy, adharma, created a doom slope that eroded its legitimacy. For Indian firms to lead globally, our governance must be our differentiator. Trust is our capital. To conclude, our goal is not to replace modern management but to create a powerful synthesis. By combining the analytical rigor of the West with the holistic wisdom of the Mahabharata, we can cultivate leaders who are resilient, ethical, and purpose driven. This is the blueprint for architects of Viksit Bharat. Namaskar.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. ARCHANA J R, Assistant Professor in the Department of MBA of RNS Institute of Technology, Bangalore. Today, I have received the opportunity to be a session chair for the Viksit Bharat 2047 conference. And I would like to thank Team Vedant and Dr. Arjun Dhave for giving this opportunity to review research papers in this conference. Today, starting with, I would like to review the paper authored by Dr. Partha Majumdar. The paper titled The Strategist Dharma, Restructuring Management Paradigms Through the Mahabharata for Viksit Bharat at 2047. This is a very good paper. The reason being, the strength of the paper lies in innovative integration of Indian knowledge system, as this paper is bridging the classical Indian strategic thought from that of the Mahabharata and drawing parallel with modern management frameworks. And here, the author is also looking at clear mapping of epic narratives to management theories. For instance, the author talks to us about Arjuna's focus on Jayadratha with respect to Pareto principle, And he's also talking about celestial weapons as VRIO resources. And talking about relevance to Viksit Bharat, this paper also ties ancient wisdom to India's developmental vision, making it policy relevant and timely. As the paper uses Porter's generic strategies, resource-based view, and also is considering stakeholder theory and scenario planning, this demonstrates the theoretical rigor of the researcher, also displaying strong conceptual frameworks. The analysis of Krishna's leadership through transformational and situational model adds depth, showing that strategy is not only structural but also psychological and ethical. The critic of Dhritarashtra's succession failure and Duryodhana's uh, uh, discussion provides practical warnings for modern corporate governance. This particular paper has a strong conceptual parallel, and it would benefit from empirical case studies of Indian firms applying these dharmic strategies. The paper has academic theories, and it can focus on primary audience like academicians, policymakers, or practitioners. Here we have over reliance on metaphors, like Abhimanyu being the question mark SBU and a risk oversimplification. Maybe if we could limit these kind, it would enhance credibility. And the Thrashtra's example serves as a powerful reminder about succession planning analysis, but the paper could connect it to the contemporary Indian family business as well. Overall, the paper is thought provoking and does talk to us about strategic management disclosure. This particular paper is integrating indigenous knowledge systems, and it's aligning with India's vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. And I would like to congratulate the researcher for doing a good job in this research paper. Looking forward for many such papers. Thank you.
Namaste or Abhivadan to the session chair and the respected participation of this conference from Gurukul to Global, paving path to Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047, restructuring higher education with the Indic priorities. My name is Dr.Lata Singh Gehlot, and I'm an MBA gold medalist from IMT Ghaziabad and a doctorate in management from the Department of Business, Finance and Economics. I'm working as a professor at Jodhpur Institute of Engineering and Technology, Department of Management Studies. Today, I'm honored to present my paper titled Gurukul to Global, a new paradigm for Indian higher education. As India approaches its centenary, that is the 100th year of the independence, the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047 becomes a guiding national goal centered on full development, self-reliance and sustainable progress. Achieving this vision requires a transformative shift in higher education, which forms the core focus of my study. This paper explores how India can blend the traditional knowledge systems with the modern global education standards. More specifically, it examines how the ancient Gurukul learning philosophies, the National Education Policy (NEP 2020), and contemporary international education frameworks can together help India build a higher education ecosystem that is globally competitive and culturally grounded. The study identifies several pressing challenges in the current system, including the gaps in the job readiness, the limited research capabilities, weak original thinking, insufficient value-based and ethical learning. These gaps highlight why a new holistic educational paradigm is needed for India's progress towards Viksit Bharat 2047. The Gurukul inspiration. The Gurukul system emphasized close mentorship, Guru Shishya Parampara, moral development, experimental learning, and discipline. This traditional model offers value-based learning for modern education, especially in promoting ethical leadership, holistic personality development, strong teacher and student relationship. and learning rooted in Indian culture and values. A mixed methods approach was used for this study. It combines basically the analysis of the ancient texts and traditional practices, the review of the national and the international education policies, quantitative and qualitative insights from the students and the institutions. This helped create a balanced, evidence based model suitable for India's futuristic needs. This paper proposes a new integrated model for Indian higher education built on basically four pillars. Number one is value based leadership. Education should cultivate integrity, empathy, and ethical decision making. Number two, Indian knowledge systems. Institutions must integrate Indian sciences, arts, philosophy, and the cultural wisdom. Interdisciplinary and digital learning. The technology enabled education and cross disciplinary study should drive innovation, the industry research collaboration. Strong partnerships can promote research, employability, and societal solutions. This model ensures that the students can develop their skills, values, global readiness while studying connected to the Indian identity. The findings indicate that integrating the Indian values and the traditional knowledge can strengthen the creativity and innovation, improve the national well being, enhance India's global academic influence, prepare value driven leaders for 2047 and beyond. In short, blending Gurukul wisdom with global vision is too much essential for shaping a world class higher education system. To conclude, this study demonstrates that India's journey toward Viksit Bharat 2047 requires an education system that is modern, interdisciplinary, and deeply rooted to the Indian civilization values. By adopting this balanced approach, India can truly move from Gurukul to global, emerging as a global leader in knowledge and innovation. The vision of Viksit Bharat 2047 requires an educational ecosystem that is technologically advanced, culturally grounded, and ethically strong. Our Gurukul to global model bridges the ancient wisdom with modern innovation. This fusion is very much essential for nurturing the future leaders who are skilled, value driven, and globally competent. With such an approach, India can truly reclaim its historic role as Vishwaguru, a global leader in knowledge. Thank you.
Namaste and greetings. I congratulate the Vedanta Knowledge Systems and its team for organizing such a wonderful international conference focusing on the theme Viksit Bharat at 2047. I am indeed honored to chair a session during this conference, which is in a true sense multidimensional, multidisciplinary, and multilingual, providing a platform for everyone to exchange their ideas and learn from each other. I am sure everyone will be benefited by this conference. The researchers, Dr. Lata Singh Gehlot, Dr. Divyesh Kalla, and Dr. Rashmi Kumari, have presented their views on the topic Gurukul to Global, a new paradigm for Indian higher education. The researchers have presented an insightful, thought provoking, and forward looking discussion regarding restructuring higher schooling with Indic priorities. They state that aligning India's higher education system with the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047 requires reforms in the current system. They mention that ethical leadership, holistic personality development, strong teacher student relationship, and learning rooted in Indian culture and values. They discuss about a transformative shift in higher schooling through integration of conventional Indian information, moral values, and coaching methodologies will result in fostering an academic surrounding which will be globally competitive through rooted though it will be rooted in Indian lifestyle. The research paper has proposed a new version for better training guided by ethical values, promoting interdisciplinary learning, emphasizing deep rooted Indian traditions, and trainings delivered in local languages. This version lays importance to value based leadership in Indian knowledge systems, interdisciplinary and digital learning, and industry research collaboration. The researchers have offered meaningful perspective on building a globally competitive yet culturally rooted, holistic and policy relevant interdisciplinary learning and value based higher education ecosystem in India. I congratulate Dr. Lata Singh Gehlot and the co-authors for having submitted their research and wish them the best for their future endeavors, while I thank Team Vedant for providing me an opportunity to chair the session.
Hello everyone, myself Dr. Manisha Surti, Assistant Professor at Vanita Vishram Women's University, Surat. It is an honor to present my paper on women entrepreneurship as a strategic driver for Viksit Bharat 2047 at 4th International Multidisciplinary Conference from Gurukul to Global, paving path to Viksit Bharat at 2047, restructuring higher education with Indic priorities. India's vision of becoming a Viksit Bharat by 2047, it is not only an economic expansion, but we can say on inclusive and sustainable growth. In this context, women entrepreneurship emerges as a powerful catalyst for economic transformation, social empowerment, and national resilience. As per the recent data from 2025, India has witnessed a remarkable rise in women led enterprises. Approximately 2.86 crore women owned MSMEs are registered on the Udyam portal. This reflects a growing, we can say, formal participation of women in entrepreneurial activities across rural and urban areas. These enterprises are very important in contributing in employment generation, local value creation, and economic stability. However, despite this progress, women constitute only about 14% of total entrepreneurs in the country. It indicates that MSME in that area, women are doing well, but overall entrepreneurs, the percentage are very lesser. So, interestingly, women owned MSME account for 20 to 39 percentage of the total MSMEs, depending on the data. This indicates both visible progress and persistent structural gaps. From a strategic management perspective, women entrepreneurs play a very crucial role in innovation, market diversification, human capital development, and inclusive leadership. Women led enterprises often demonstrate resilience, social orientation, community based growth models aligning well with the long term national development goals. So, moving further, uh, I want to say that there is a significant challenges are also there, like access to formal finance, limited scaling opportunities, social cultural constraint as are in our country. Female are very restricted to certain activities, unequal access to the networks and mentorship continue to restrict the growth. The Economic Survey 2024-25 highlights critical concern. Women's ownerships decline sharply as enterprise size increases from 22% in micro enterprises to only 7% in medium enterprises. This clearly indicates structural and institutional barriers to enterprise expansion. So, my paper synthesizes on secondary data, government reports, and management theories to propose an integrated strategic framework. Now, for this framework, it is dependent on four pillars. First one is policy and institutional support. Second, financial inclusion and credit accessibility. Third one, capacity building and skill development. Fourth one, managerial mentorship and leadership development. Surrounding women entrepreneurship into national developing planning is not only, we can say, social imperative, but a strategic economic necessity of the time. Strengthening women led businesses enhances productivity, competitiveness, innovation, inclusive growth, all of which are very essential for realizing our vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. At the end, to conclude, empowering women entrepreneurs is not about inclusion alone. It is about nation building. When women grow, enterprises grow, When enterprises grow, the nation progresses. So here, I want to thank everyone who have contributed to make this conference possible and successful. Very thank you, everyone.
Namaste and greetings. I, Dr. Aparna Pathak, congratulate the Vedanta Knowledge Systems and its team for organizing a wonderful international, multidimensional, multidisciplinary, and multilingual conference which provides a platform for everyone to exchange their ideas and learn from each other. The theme of the conference is focusing on Viksit Bharat at 2047. I am sure this conference will be advantageous to all in various ways. The researcher, Dr. Manisha Surti, has presented her views on the topic Women's Entrepreneurship, a strategic driver for Viksit Bharat at 2047. Dr. Manisha Surti has provided an insightful overview of the role of women's entrepreneurship in India's economic growth and its alignment with the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047. She highlights the significant rise in formal entrepreneurial participation of women and their contribution to economic resilience across rural and urban regions. She also brings forth that women owned enterprises play a crucial role in fostering innovation, human capital development, and market diversification. The discussion on declining ownership in enterprises with a bigger size demonstrates the structural barriers to growth while stressing on the proposed integrated framework for implementing clear policy, financial inclusion, and capacity building. The researcher has conducted a fair study and has emphasized on women entrepreneurship as a strategic driver of inclusivity and sustainable development. I congratulate Dr. Manisha Surti for having submitted her research and wish her the best for her future endeavors, while I thank Team Vedant for providing me an opportunity to chair the session. Thank you.
Hello everyone, respected chairperson, delegates and participants. I am Dr. Radhika Desai from Jyoti Dalal School of Commerce and Management, Vanitha Vishram Women's University, Surat. My presentation is titled Digital Payment and Financial Inclusion in India, Evidence from RBI's Financial Inclusion Index 2017 to 2024. This study closely connects with the conference theme From Gurukul to Global, Paving Part 2 Viksit Bharat at 2047, as digital finance is the key pillar of India's development journey. Over the past few years, digital payment have become an important part of everyday life in India. Platforms like UPI and other based payment have made financial services are more accessible, especially for rural and low income populations. However, an important question remains how digital payments actually help in improving financial inclusions. This study attempts to answer these questions using official RBI data. India's digital transaction system include different payment methods. In this study, I focus on UPI, other enabled payment system, mobile banking, POS machine used in shops and card payments. These systems make payment faster, cheaper and easier. These are especially helpful for people in rural area and for those who were earlier outside the formal banking system. To measure financial inclusion, the study uses the Financial Inclusion Index prepared by the Reserve Bank of India. This index does not look at just bank account. It also measures how often people use financial services and the quality of those services. Because of this, the index gives a complete picture of financial inclusion in the country. The main aim of the study is to understand whether digital payment help improve financial inclusion in India. Another objective is to find out Which digital payment system contribute the most to improving financial inclusion over time? The study uses official data from RBI and NPCI for the period from 2017 to 2024. Financial inclusion is measured using the RBI index, while digital payment measured through UPI transactions, AEPS usage, mobile banking transaction, POS machine and card payments. This period is important because it covers the rapid growth phase of digital payment in India. Simple statistical methods are used in this study. First, relationship between digital payments and financial inclusion are examined. Then, regression analysis is applied to understand how changes in digital transaction affect financial inclusion. Additional checks are also done to ensure that the results are reliable. The results show a strong positive relationship between digital payment and financial inclusion. Among all payment systems, UPI and other enabled payment systems have the strongest impact. This is because these platforms are low cost, easy to use, and accessible to a large population, including rural and low income groups. The findings suggest that digital payment can be an effective tool for financial inclusion. Policymakers should focus on improving digital infrastructure in rural areas, encouraging the use of UPI and AEPS, and increasing digital awareness among people. This step can help ensure that digital finance reaches everywhere. To conclude, this study shows that digital payment play an important role in improving financial inclusion in India. Fintech-based payment system help bring more people into the formal financial system. The study also provides useful insight for policymakers and future researchers. Thank you for your time.
Namaste and greetings. I, Dr. Aparna Pathak, congratulate Vedanta Knowledge Systems and its team for organizing such a wonderful international conference focusing on the theme Viksit Bharat at 2047. I am indeed honored to chair a session during this conference, which, in a true sense, is multidimensional, multidisciplinary, and multilingual, providing a platform for everyone to exchange their ideas and learn from each other. I am sure it will be advantageous to everyone in various ways. The researcher, Dr. Radhika Desai, has presented her views on the topic digital payments and financial inclusion in India, evidence from RBI's Financial Inclusion Index 2017 to 2024. Dr. Desai has conducted a comprehensive study and provided linkage between digital payments and financial inclusion in India using RBI's Financial Inclusion Index as a robust indicator of inclusive financial development. She has highlighted the relevance of the fintech driven transactions, majorly Unified Payments Interface, Aadhaar enabled payment system usage, mobile banking transactions, point of sale terminals, and card based payment instruments in expanding access to financial services for underserved populations. The findings of the study indicate a positive association between the expansion of fintech driven transactions and the financial inclusion index, which lends credibility to the analysis. The researcher has further shared insights for strengthening India's digital financial infrastructure to promote sustainable and inclusive economic growth. The researcher has done a great job. The researcher could have acknowledged the potential limitations about the use of fintech driven transactions, the inequality regarding its reach, having the services and using them knowledgeably, and the infrastructural and security concerns. I congratulate Dr. Radhika Desai for having submitted her research and wish her the best for her future endeavors and thank.
Good morning, everyone. Today I will discuss how leadership directly fuels the Viksit Bharat mission. The vision needs more than policy, it needs the extra mile effort of millions, what we call as organizational citizenship behavior. Think of a teacher mentoring beyond school hours or an engineer ensuring quality beyond the contract. That is actually OCB. So, our research asks what leadership style best unlocks this OCB in India. So, we have compared two powerful styles, the visionary transformational leadership style and the empathetic servant leaders. So, for this research, what I have done is we have surveyed 412 professionals across key sectors. Here, what we have found. So, first, they are complementary. Servant leadership strongly drives OCV towards individual helping colleagues. Transformational leadership strongly drives OCV towards an organization that is taking initiative. Now, the second finding, they work differently. Transformational leaders actually empowers people to act, whereas servant leaders build support that people want to repay. And the third key finding is that culture is the key. The Indian ethos of karma yoga, selfless duty, significantly amplifies the impact of both leadership style. So for Viksit Bharat, we don't need one or the other. We need the hybrid teachers, the servant transformer, a leader who serves the team while articulating a national vision. To build this India, our institution must develop leaders who blend the heart of a servant with the vision of a transformer. Thank you for giving me a chance to present my paper, that is my paper. Thank you so much.
Namaste and greetings. I, Dr. Aparna Pathak, congratulate the Vedant Knowledge Systems and its team for organizing a wonderful international, multidimensional, multidisciplinary, and multilingual conference focusing on the theme Viksit Bharat at 2047. I am indeed honored to chair a session during this conference, which provides a platform for everyone to exchange their ideas and learn from each other. The researchers Durga Ghosh and Dr. Harmit Kaur have presented their paper on the topic Leadership for Viksit Bharat, the comparative efficacy of transformational and servant leadership in fostering organizational citizenship behavior in Indian organizations. The researchers, through their study, examine which leadership paradigm, transformational leadership or servant leadership, is more successful for promoting organizational citizenship behavior within a particular socio cultural setting in India. The researchers suggest that both leadership philosophies influence the organizational citizenship behavior using different psychological mechanisms. It was observed that followers with a strong orientation towards selfless duty were noticeably more receptive to the organizational citizenship behavior, eliciting impacts of both leadership styles. Their study concluded that combined servant transformational leadership paradigm is the best for Viksit Bharat. The study offers a well abstracted and traditional examination of leadership's role in advancing the Viksit Bharat, the vision through organizational citizenship behavior. The proposed hybrid servant transformational leadership model provides a perceptive and policy relevant thought, providing a valuable contribution to leadership, human capital, and national development literature. I congratulate Durga Ghosh and Dr. Harmit Kaur for having submitted their research paper and wish them the best for their future endeavors, while I thank Team Vedant for providing me an opportunity to chair the session. Thank you.
Good morning, all. In today's Viksit Bharat 2047 conference, I am presenting my paper on the title From Satya to Smart Contracts Integrating Vedic Ethics with Blockchain Based Credentialization for India's Higher Education Transformation. I am Urmila Karale, a research scholar from Modern College, Shivajinagar, Pune, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. Co-author for the paper is Dr. Rupesh Bansode, sir, who is a research guide from Modern College, Shivajinagar, Pune. So we are going to have an overview of the paper in the form of abstract introduction, then objectives, and then we are going to talk about the suggestions. In this paper, we are talking about the Vedic Ethics Foundation, then combination with the blockchain technology, how that can prove to be very good for ensuring educational credentialization process. The day before yesterday only, Viksit Bharat Shiksha Adhikshan Bill 2025 is approved in Parliament, which mainly talks about one single authority creating regulations into the field of education, merging all the given institutions. Post implementation of NEP 2020 and this structural change in the form of this bill is going to give good amount of an opportunity for educational expansion in the time to come, and India is soon going to be one of the educational hubs. So with the following research objectives that we have started with the paper, that to provide formulation of a conceptual framework, then we have referred to all India survey reports, statistics reports, and then did some amount of the policy framework evaluation. The major questions that this paper is going to answer is how Vedic ethics can be a foundation for this educational accreditation. And then we're also going to see the real life cases where the blockchain technology is implemented. And then we are going to see how blockchain technology provides the robust foundation for the same. So these are the major working definitions or terms. When we coin them together, we are able to get a very trustworthy academic credential framework. As far as research review is concerned, that we have investigated into the Vedic ethical foundation. Then we came up with Rita, Satya, Dharma, and Karma. All this as the basic principles guiding the educational credentialization process, which is very aligned with the blockchain technology framework, because if you will see, it provides distributed ledger having good amount of a transparency, auto execution in the form of smart contracts. We have also investigated into the NEP 2020 and then recent digital infrastructure developments. Also refer to the ASH 2021-22 reports. We also have two important cases, that is IIT Kanpur and NIT Kurukshetra, where they have already implemented blockchain technology successfully for doing academic credentialization. So mainly research gap talk about ethics philosophy we can apply to blockchain technology and a good amount of the digital infrastructure to form educational credentialization move fast. Quantitative as well as qualitative data. So quantitative data mainly talks about the statistical surveys, that all India survey reports, and then qualitative data mainly talks about the evaluation of all the different policy documents. Mainly the data referred is secondary, which mainly talks about in the form of the policy documents. Here's the first data table, talks mainly about the survey done by Times Higher Education Report, which mainly talks about India leading the education in 2035. Second table mainly talks about increase in the private institutions. So these are the recent reforms. 2015 onwards, there's a lot much reforms that has happened in education field. So this is the conceptual framework that we have, where we are trying to align Vedic foundation principles with the blockchain technology features to ensure good combination, to ensure robust foundation for ensuring academic credentialization. Vedic ethics can prove to be very good foundation, which aligns with the blockchain technology. So here, traditional credentialization process won't be much helpful with the increase in the number of the enrollments that are going to happen in the time to come. Basically, this study proposes Vedic blockchain accreditation model to scale education from Gurukul to global by blending ancient values with the next generation digital infrastructure. Vedic ethics principles can prove to be very good foundation for developing digital technology required for ensuring faster academic credentialization process. So here we acknowledge the efforts of all. These are some of the references. This study mainly emphasizes on the need to balance innovation with the strong ethical foundations by bridging traditional wisdom with the contemporary framework, so we can have very sustainable academic growth and development. Thank you.
Namaste and greetings. I, Dr. Aparna Pathak, congratulate the Vedant Knowledge Systems and its team for organizing such a wonderful international conference focusing on the theme Viksit Bharat at 2047. I am indeed honored to chair a session during this conference, which in true sense is multidimensional, multidisciplinary, and multilingual, and is providing a platform for everyone to exchange their ideas and learn from each other. I am sure this conference will be advantageous to all in various ways. The researchers, Ms. Karale Urmila and Dr. Rupesh D. Bansode, have presented their research paper on the topic From Satya, Truth to Smart Contracts, integrating Vedic ethics with blockchain based credentialization for India's higher education transformation. The researchers have discussed about the integration of Vedic ethics and blockchain-based credentialization. The researchers suggest that though the Indian higher education system has recently undergone numerous changes, it is likely to go through substantial transformations in the near future. It also faces challenges including credential fraud and limited global qualification portability. The research paper offers a traditional ground yet technologically concrete solution to issues such as credential fraud and trust deficits. This research paper proposes an integrated blockchain based framework with a strong Vedic ethics foundation incorporating Satya, truth, Rita, order, Dharma, duty, and Karma, accountability to revolutionize credentialization process for new digital education era. The researchers analyzed case studies from few institutions to understand blockchain technology implementation in issuing and verifying digital certificates, ensuring transparency, security, accountability, and trust. The study proposes an Indian culture coherent approach to digital credentialization, balancing global standards with local values to advance India's higher education sector. I congratulate Ms. Karale Urmila and Dr. Rupesh D. Bansode for having submitted their research paper and wish them the best for their future endeavors, while I thank Team Vedant for providing me an opportunity to chair the session. Thank you.
Good day. I'm Aditi Ganesh Athreya, research scholar from Chennai Vishwavidyapeeth, Ernakulam. My topic for the day is plugging Nari Shakti for an empowered Bharat towards Viksit Bharat 2047. The economy is a combination of both male and female together. The contribution of both male and female are extremely important. To start with, the shloka goes like Sri Samasta Sakala Jagatsu. It is taken from Durga Saptashati. It highlights the concept of completeness. We infer that Devi, the feminine energy, the woman in herself, is complete. The flow for the presentation would be like the vision and the need for Viksit Bharat, the importance of women entrepreneurship, the challenges faced by them, government's role in strategic support. So Viksit Bharat is the Government of India's vision to transform India into a fully developed nation by the year 2047. The foundational pillars here is youth, women, farmers, and the poor with special focus on women. By embracing Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, India positions itself as a nation that grows while uplifting others, promoting peace, sustainability, and cooperation worldwide. The slogan for Viksit Bharat is Atmanirbhar Bharat. The need for Viksit Bharat is the even after so much of post-independence, the challenges like poverty and unemployment and inequality they still exist. India aspires to be a $30 trillion economy and a global leader in technology. The India has one of the world's youngest population, where it tries to harness their innovation, skills, and energy to drive a long-term development. India must sustain high growth, empower its people, especially Nari Shakti, and invest heavily in infrastructure. Importance of women entrepreneurship for Viksit Bharat. Women's economic participation is not just a question of fairness, it's a question of national strength and growth, as told by the chairman of Axelor Ventures. By empowering women, it aligns with the philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Economic growth is guaranteed where it expands GDP, new businesses are created, inclusive development, job creation happens, and also it helps in breaking the barriers. Women's entrepreneurship is a driving force of Viksit Bharat 2047, embodying Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas through Nari Shakti. The challenges faced by women here is societal and cultural balance. Traditional expectations often require women to prioritize family responsibilities over their careers, balancing work and family. The dual burden of managing household duties and running a business creates stress for them. Gender bias and stereotype. Business is often seen as a male-dominated field. Women entrepreneurs face a lot of skepticism there, and their leadership abilities are questioned. Skill development and education. Many women lack access for training, mentorship, financial literacy, and so on. The government's role in strategic support here is that it has given a lot of financial assistance with schemes like Mudra loans and PM Swanidhi loans. At the grassroots level, also empowerment has happened, like the Nari Adalat, which empowers women at the panchayati level. Community-driven programs strengthen women's voices in governance and entrepreneurship. 68% of Mudra loans and 44% of PM Swanidhi loans have gone to women. Indian Union Budget 2025, Honorable Finance Minister announced rupees 2 crore loan schemes for women and SC/ST entrepreneurs. Women's employment rate nearly doubled between 2017 and 2024. Finally, we can conclude that a foundation of strength and potential. The history of India is very rich, particularly in the Vedic period, which is also called as the golden period, where women were respected and they had equal participation in the society, and their contribution was also equally considered. We need to bring back that moment here by role of strategic support, where the government has successfully laid the groundwork by shifting its focus from women's welfare to empowerment through entrepreneurship by including a lot of financial initiatives like Mudra Yojana, Stand Up India, and etc. Self-help groups and microfinance are also essential for transforming subsistence business in rural areas into formally recognized economic entities. Finally, with this combined comes the call of shared responsibility, where women entrepreneurship, they continue to face more hurdles, and to help them in reducing the gap in their hurdles, a lot of policy refinement must happen. Mentorship and skill development should take place, and societal transformation also will be guaranteed here. In summation, women entrepreneurship is a powerful weapon that drives both economic expansion and vital social change, fully enabling women to realize their potential. From micro business to high growth startups is the most direct, effective, and complete path for achieving the powerful self-reliant vision of Viksit Bharat. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Reshma Ghorpade. I'm working as Associate Professor with Wellinger Institute of Management and Research. I would like to thank Dr. Arjun Dave and Vedant Knowledge System for organizing such an brilliant conference called Viksit Bharat at 2047. And at the same time, I would like to thank Dr. Arjun Dave for giving me this opportunity for being in session chair. So I'm basically reviewing a paper which is submitted by Aditi, Ganesh and Satesh Verma. The paper title is Plugging Nari Shakti for an Empowered Bharat Towards Viksit Bharat 2047. So according to me, this paper addresses a very highly relevant and nationally significant theme, which is again in alignment with the women empowerment and women entrepreneurship with the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. This basically attempts to integrate Indian philosophical thought process, historical perspectives, political initiatives, and at the same time contemporary economic disclosures at the same time discourse to argue what women's economic participation is for the India's growth trajectory. That is something which is highlighted through this manuscript. This is very conceptually rich, culturally rooted, what we can call it as policy oriented. It offers advocacy driven narrative, which is very valuable for awareness building and policy dialogues. This research paper basically requires substantial strengthening in a little methodological rigor, analytical depth, and scholarly presentation as well. If I talk about strength of this paper, there are many philosophical constructs basically which talks about Shakti, Durga, which provides a distinctive indigenous frameworks which differentiates the paper from conventional economic analysis. And it is of course is in alignment with Viksit Bharat. That is something which is very recommendable, and at the same time it is in alignment with Atmanirbhar Bharat as well. Jan Bhagirthi is timely, policy relevant. So a comprehensive coverage of policy landscape, that is something which is basically focused on. This paper offers exhaustive listing of government schemes supporting women entrepreneurships like Mudra, Stand Up India, SHG groups, MSME schemes. So the discussion demonstrates very good familiarity with the national initiatives and institutional mechanisms. At the same time, this manuscript convincingly argues the women entrepreneurship is not a welfare issue but a growth imperative, so which is important conceptual repositioning ideally. And at the same time, the challenges which are majorly faced by women entrepreneurs are well articulated, supported by secondary sources as well. And the paper integrate economic, sociological, public policy, gender studies, and cultural philosophy, which is really commendable. Now, if I talk about major concerns or areas of improvement, ideally this paper is presented as a research paper, but there is a little clarity needed on research objectives, research questions, and hypothesis, which is generally a basic requirement of a research paper. Methodology is described as a vast literature review without any inclusion or exclusion of criteria. The time frame is again a constraint. Analytical framework such as systematic review or narrative review or thematic analysis are again need to be there. So ideally, if we talk about nature of study, it should be clearly need to be specified that whether it is conceptual, it is systematic literature, whether it is policy analysis. At the same time, objectives and guiding questions or hypotheses need to be there. Methodological approach need to be very clearly specified. Overly descriptive and normative tone is there throughout the research paper. So several sections such as philosophical and theoretical, where while engaging they reduce analytical sharpness ideally. So balanced scholarly substantiation and nuance discussion is required. So I recommend to reduce generalization and introduce critical engagement with multiple scholarly viewpoint. That is something which is important. There is insufficient empirical evidence we could observe in the paper. So this research paper relies more on secondary sources, whereas quantitative analysis is very limited. So GDP, startup data, schemes, outcomes are mentioned but not systematically analyzed, which need to be done. And at the same time, this paper could be strengthened through the comparative statistics. It could be a trend analysis, that how the trends are over the period of time, schemes effective indicators, whether it is impact, whether it is limitation, whether it is uptake, that could be suggested. And the sections occasionally overlap and repeat arguments as well. So the transition between philosophy, history, policy, economics is not always seamless. So the conclusion is lengthy, and of course it's read more like advocacy essay. So instead of synthesis ideally, so that need to be taken care of. So the restructuring in the research paper is required into the introduction and objectives, conceptual framework where Nari Shakti and development, which is highlighted, but then conceptual framework need to be involved. Literature review, policy analysis, clearly mentioned gaps or identified gaps, or what all the forward ways are for conducting this research, or what all probably limitations are which can be taken care further, that need to be mentioned. Several reference lacks are also there where complete publication details are probably missing. Page numbers, DOIs wherever applicable need to be mentioned. In-text citations are very inconsistent. So please adopt a single referencing style. Ideally, APA is generally recommended. Ensure all citations are verifiable and properly formatted. Minor observations are also there, like copy editing and all. And this paper's original contribution lies in its culturally rooted framing of women entrepreneurship within Viksit Bharat vision. So this is something which is considered as a novelty of this paper, but at the same time there should be a conceptual clarity, there should be a clarity about objectives and hypothesis and methodology as well. So this is something which I would like to majorly focus on, and I will close with my ending note with the final recommendation that the paper could be accepted with the major revisions where the paper need to have a strong substantial improvements in the research design, analytical rigor, structure and scholarly tone. At the same time, this paper, as I mentioned, has a potential to spark meaningful academic and policy discussions around the women-led development in India. With focus, revision, clear methodologies and stronger analytical groundings, it can make a credible contribution to this conference. So with this, I end my review. Thank you so much, and I congratulate at the same time all the very best to the researchers who are a part of this conference altogether. Thank you so much.
Hello. The name of the conference is From Gurukul to Global, Paving Path to Viksit Bharat at 2027, Restructuring Higher Education with Indic Priorities. And this is NIRANTH M R, working as an assistant professor in MMK and SDM Degree College. And the title of this paper is so it is Global Competitiveness through Local Innovation, leveraging local knowledge for international success. So what it means, basically, the global competitiveness in the 21st century increasingly depends on the ability of nations to innovate locally while integrating such innovations into global markets. Local innovation solutions originating from unique cultural, environmental, and social contexts can transform traditional knowledge, skills, and community-driven practices into global relevant technologies, products, and services. Whereas this paper explores the relationship between local innovation and global competitiveness through the lens of real-world case studies, which includes Kenya's M-PISA program, Bangladesh Gramina Bank program, and India's Frugal Innovation Initiative, and also not to exclude Japan's lean manufacturing and the Silicon Savannah's technology ecosystem. So this conceptual framework illustrates how local knowledge, policy support, innovation, ecosystems, and digital technologies interact to generate competitive advantages at the global level. The paper further discusses challenges such as limited funding, infrastructure constraints, and market barriers, and proposes a cumulative policy recommendations for enhancing local innovation capacity. The findings indicate that countries capable of nurturing local creativity and integrating it into global value chains achieve sustainable economic growth, technological leadership, and also inclusive development. So basically, globalization has made a rapid technological advancement, which is also intensifying the market competition nowadays. And the traditional factors such as access to capital, natural resources which are available, and labor are no longer sufficient to secure long-term economic advantage. Instead, innovation has emerged as a primary determinant of global success. With this context, local innovation, the development of solutions embedded in local, cultural, social, and environmental realities offer a pathway to both a national development and international market leadership. This paper examines how local innovation contributes to global competitiveness, focusing on four core areas, and those are value creation through context-specific solutions, development of innovation ecosystems, digital transformation as a facilitator of global reach, and sustainability and inclusive growth. The discussion is reinforced through empirical case studies and a conceptual framework demonstrating the mechanisms by which local innovations have the capability, have the capacity to scale to global markets. So, coming to the literature review, Porter in 1990 argued that the global competitive advantage of nation depends on combination of a factor conditions, demand conditions, related and supporting industries, and a firm strategy. He once called it as the diamond model, which emphasizes the importance of locally embedded capabilities, highlighting the role of knowledge, skills, and innovations clusters in shaping global competitiveness. Similarly, Romer in 1994 also contended that endogenous growth is driven by knowledge accumulation and technological innovation rather than mere capital investment. These theoretical foundations suggest that leveraging localized innovation can create unique competitive advantages in international markets. Recent studies have expanded the concept of competitiveness beyond the traditional metrics of productivity, which also includes innovation-driven capacity. According to OECD, countries with robust local innovation systems tend to have higher level of economic resilience, technological adaptability, and social inclusiveness. The literature consistently underscores that innovation ecosystems comprising government policies, private sector initiatives, academic research, and community networks are critical in transforming local knowledge into global relevant outcomes. Coming back to the local innovation systems, where we'll be studying about the three important, or let's say the case studies happened, wherein we understand how the local innovation have reached the global stage. First is about the M-Pesa, then in the Kenya. It is a mobile-based money transfer system launched in Kenya in 2007, which exemplifies how local-driven solutions can scale globally. Its success in Kenya has inspired adoption in other countries to Tanzania, India, and Eastern Europe, demonstrating how localized innovation can achieve global reach. Second example is of the Gramina Bank, which happened in Bangladesh way back again in 2000s. It is a microfinance model focuses on providing small collateral-free loans to marginalized populations, particularly women. Its global influence is evident in microfinance programs adopted in Asia, Africa, and Latin America, highlighting the scalability of locally informed social innovations. Last but not least, Japan's lean manufacturing, which emerged post World War II as a response to resource constraints by focusing on efficiency, waste reduction, and continuous improvement. Lean practices became globally recognized and adopted by industries worldwide. This innovation developed to solve local challenges can redefine global production standards. So those were the case studies which are part of this paper. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Reshma Ghorpade. I'm working with Wellinger Institute of Management and Research as Associate Professor. I would like to first thank Dr. Arjun Dave and Vedant Knowledge System for organizing this such a brilliant conference called Viksit Bharat at 2047, and I would like to thank them for giving me this opportunity for becoming as a session chair for this conference. Thank you very much. So I'm starting with first research paper, which is basically contributed by NIRANTH and Pratima. And the title of this research paper is Global Competitiveness Through Local Innovation and Leveraging Local Knowledge for International Success. So according to me, this paper examines a very contemporary and globally relevant theme, how local innovation systems basically they are rooted in indigenous knowledge and contextual problem solving contribute to the global competitiveness as well. It adopt interdisciplinary, policy-oriented and comparative approach. It draws basically international cases across developing and developed economies as well. This manuscript is conceptually strong, well referenced, and global in scope. So that is something which is very positive about this research paper. And they basically talked about comparison of many conceptual papers. This submission shows above average academic maturity, especially in the literature integration if we consider. So the key strength basically if we consider for this research paper are they have a very strong theoretical grounding. The paper is well anchored in established theories. They have talked about Porter's diamond model, at the same time indigenous growth theory, innovation systematic literature. The linkage between local innovation system and global competitiveness is logically argued. They have talked about different cases such as Grameen Bank, Japan's lean manufacturing, India's frugal innovation, South Korea's technology hub, Brazil's agri-tech, and Singapore's fintech ecosystem. At the same time, they have talked about M-Pesa as well. So these cases successfully demonstrated how a constraint and cultural context can become the sources of competitive advantages. So they again have focused on integrated perspectives on digitalization and sustainability. They have talked about the policy recommendations, which basically focusing on ecosystems, IP protections, funding mechanisms, and digital infrastructures. Quality referencing is also very focused on. There are certain major concerns and areas of improvement for this research paper that I thought so. That absence of explicit research methodology, because the papers reads like conceptual and case study based, but then the nature of research, ideally the conceptual reviews and the qualitative case analysis, comparative studies are there, but then the criteria for the case selection somehow it's missing. Analytical methods which are used to derived insights from the cases are again there. So I would recommend the study type, the conceptual or comparative case analysis, rationale for selecting cases, and some limitations if could be contributed of secondary data based analysis. That would be again the additional benefit we can consider. Here again they have talked about the theme of local innovation, global competitiveness. So that is something which is more explicitly need to be focused on. Over dominance of Indian context, unless the paper is referred as Indian concentric or Indian centric, we can say that is again more prominently we can see the over dominance is there. Even the limited analytical synthesis which we can see in this paper, where it presents strong description but short of deep comparative analysis. So if basically a cross case comparison table or probably synthesizing subsections highlighting what all patterns could be there, what all contrasts are there, or what all what all causal mechanisms could be seen, that probably could be included. Even the conceptual models are very clear, logically sounds. However, it remains illustrative rather than analytically operationalized ideally. So if this, if if basically there is addition of a framework which is a theoretical synthesis or a basic future empirical research, if it is highlighted, that would be the most beneficial one. So this is something which I think it should be there. And when it comes to originality and contribution, ideally integrating innovation systems, digital transformation, sustainability, and global competitiveness. Again, it is highlighted through the new theories, demonstrating local knowledge is not a constraint but strategic resource in global market. So ethical perspective like conflict of interest is appropriately declared. No ethical concerns are evident. And my final recommendation for this paper could be, this paper is very academically sound, well researched, globally relevant. Revisions are mainly required in the methodological clarities and structural balance and analytical synthesis rather than the conceptual overhaul. So that is something which I feel. So this paper makes a meaningful contribution to the discourse on innovation lead competitiveness, particularly for emerging and transition economies. Its global case-based approach and strong theoretical grounding will stimulate valuable discussion among scholars, policymakers, and practitioners as well. So with targeted revisions, the manuscript has a strong potential for successful publication and presentation as well. So this is what my submission is for this research paper. Thank you so much. And I congratulate the researchers for coming up with a very innovative idea. At the same time, I would like to thank them for basically coming up with very good literature and the contribution for this knowledge which we do have. Thank you so much.
A warm and respectful greetings to one and all present here. This is Shobana, Assistant Professor from the Department of Social Work, Women's Christian College, Chennai. Today I'm going to present a paper titled Social Work as a Strategic Instrument in Advancing the Vision of Viksit Bharat 2047, a multi-level intervention perspective. Today's presentation focuses on how social work functions as a strategic instrument in advancing the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. To introduce and go into the topic, I wanted to give you a gist or idea about what is social work and what is Viksit Bharat 2047. About social work, it is a practice-based profession that promotes social change, development, social justice, empowerment, human rights, etc. It works closely with individuals, groups, and communities to improve their well-being and ensure social equity. And for this matter, social work as a profession and as a discipline, it has its own values, it has its own methods, approaches to have a scientific means of practice. So about Viksit Bharat 2047, I am going to give you just a brief about it. Viksit Bharat 2047, it is a national vision to transform India into a developed, inclusive, self-resilient and a prosperous nation by 2047. It emphasizes on the following areas like economic growth, quality education and healthcare, social inclusion, innovation, digital empowerment, strong infrastructure and governance. So, now, why link social work and Viksit Bharat 2047? Social work has historically contributed to India's development from independence till today. To prove this statement, I wanted to take you back to the history from development, from the phases of development India has gone through, starting from 1950 to 1970, where India was in a community development phase, where India was newly developing and it was newly independent country, which focuses on rural reconstructions, literacy, health and sanitation. So how social workers contributed in this phase is that social workers mobilized villages for community development programs in 1952. They facilitated Panchayat Raj by organizing Gram Sabhas and community meetings in 1959. They educated and gave awareness about health, hygiene, and sanitations to people. They strengthened rural development processes, and they mainly focused on empowerment of rural villages with the Gandhian principles. So moving on to the next phase, that is from 1970s to 1990s, it is more or less a poverty elevation phase where India introduced major welfare schemes and anti-poverty schemes. During this period, government launched various schemes and policies. How social workers worked in there is that they took a main role in identifying the beneficiaries and made sure that these schemes reaches the right people. So they identified beneficiaries for programs like IRDP, that is integrated rural development programs, ICDS like integrated child development programs and services. For these services, they identified the people in the grassroots level to by home visits and so on. So they also organized, on other hands, they worked on self-help groups, organizations, women collectives, they conducting home visits, case works, counselings. They educated people and families about child nutrition, maternal health, and they worked with Anganwadi centers in delivering these services like ICDS, as I said. So then as we move on to the next phase, that is right-based phase from 1990s to 2014. So here the nation focused mainly on economic liberation, which gave a strong focus on rights, transparencies, and economic citizen empowerment and economic rights. So how social workers worked here is that they facilitated social audits under various schemes. They supported communities to seek their rights. That is, they empowered the communities to have their own entitlements and how to claim their entitlements. They took a tool of social action in their hand. They advocated for the people rights, people education, child education, and they promoted democratic participation in it. So the next phase is called as mission-based development phase, which is from 2014 to the present, where India launched several flagship programs like which focuses on cleanliness, that is Swachh Bharat, digital empowerment and skill development and infrastructure programs. Here social workers work on behavioral change communication, which is very important, like through awareness, through counseling, through psychosocial support, they worked on it. And they also worked on digital inclusions like training and group sessions. They worked mainly with youth skill building, like through capacity buildings, workshops, mentorings, and they also worked with Jal Jeevan Mission, like through community mobilizations, meetings, through PRA tools, with grassroots level approaches. They worked effectively. And they also made home visits, referral services, as I said earlier, to make sure that every citizen is there with proper health, hygiene, and etc. So why this matters, why this history matters for Viksit Bharat 2047 may be a question that arises. I would say because social work has always contributed to nation's development and nation building. Its role naturally contributes into Viksit Bharat vision. Social work supports inclusive development, empowerment for vulnerable sessions, digital and social transformation, and strengthening governance. This makes social work as a discipline, as a strategic partner in achieving India's goal in 2047. Now, I wanted to give you an official definition of social work by IFSW, is International Federation for Social Workers. Social work practice, in quote, social work practice is a practice-based profession and an academic discipline that promotes social change, development, social cohesion, and the empowerment and liberation of people. Principles of social justice, human rights, collective responsibility, and respects for diversities are central to social work. End quote. So, how this definition relates to Viksit Bharat? The values in the definitions like development, justice, empowerment, inclusion, participation are the same values that guides Viksit Bharat 2047. Social works helps mainly by ensuring marginalized groups benefiting from the development projects. They made sure promoting social justice and equal opportunities, strengthening human capitals through skills and empowerment, mobilizing communities to participating in national missions, enhancing accountability and governance. Okay, I have told how social work as in general practice helps in nation's vision building or nation's development process. Now I wanted to take this to another extent or to the other domain of how the levels of practices in social work can help as a tool in reaching Viksit Bharat. Talking about the levels of practice in social work, there are 3 levels of practices like micro level practices, meso level practices, and macro level practices. I'll give a gist about on each levels and we'll come to a conclusion. So, micro level practices. At micro level practices, social work focus mainly on individuals and families. This level is crucial for Viksit Bharat 2047 because nation developments depend on social, strong human capital, meaning healthy, skilled and empowered citizens. Social workers contribute by providing counseling services, psychosocial support, especially for vulnerable people like individuals, youth, women and farmers. They work with skilled assisting individuals to access welfare schemes such as health, insurance, education, pension benefits and livelihood benefits. By helping individuals overcome these personal and social barriers, micro-level social work strengthens the foundations of national development. A nation becomes developed only when its people and when its individual persons are capable and confident and empowered. So moving on to the next level of social work, that is meso level of social work in Viksit Bharat 2047. At meso level, social work focus on groups, communities and small organizations. This level is extremely important because Viksit Bharat emphasizes community-driven development. Social work engages in forming and supporting self-help groups, creating farmers group or cooperatives, strengthening agricultural productivity and marketing, organizing youth groups for skills, leadership and digital literacy, facilitating community meetings and collective decision making, strengthening local communities are some of the examples or some of the interventions that social workers do in meso level. Through these group-based interventions, social workers build community resilience, participation, and mutual supports. This helps communities become more self-resilient units capable of contributing actively to Viksit Bharat goals. Moving on to the macro level social work practices. At macro level, social workers deals with policies, systems, and structural changes. This aligns directly with Viksit Bharat 2047, which aims to reform governance, improve social services, and ensure social justice. Social workers contribute by policy advocacy, ensuring that laws and government programs are inclusive and equitable. They work with social audits to monitor the transparency and accountability in schemes of various programs. And they use an important tool that is research as a method of social work to identify community needs and influences in policy making. They promote human rights and social justice through working with marginalized communities, and they also strengthen institutional linkages between government and non-governmental organizations and with communities. Macro level social workers ensures that development is not just implemented but supported by fair systems, strong institutions, and responsive governance structures. This is essential for India to become developed and just nation by 2047. I am going to come into a conclusion by saying social work plays a vital role and a strategic role in advancing the vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. Through the collaborative efforts of NGOs and INGOs, social work helps bridge government schemes with real community needs. Through its multidisciplinary nature, engaging with public health, governance, technology, environment, psychology, it enables social workers to effectively work and respond to complex nations' challenges such as digital inequality, social exclusion, climate vulnerability, and mental health issues. By functioning across micro level, meso level, and macro level, social workers converts national aspirations into practical, people-centered outcomes. It strengthens individuals, empowers communities, and contributes to shaping inclusive and accountable system. Overall, social work stands as an essential pillar in ensuring and standing as a proof that vision of Viksit Bharat 2047 becomes not just a policy goal but a lived experience and a sustainable reality of every citizen. Thank you for the opportunity and thank you all.
Namaste to all. I am Professor Aswani B Nair, Department of Social Work, Madras School of Social Work. Would like to congratulate the respected Dr. Arjun Dev and Vedanta Knowledge System for organizing this prestigious international conference on Viksit Bharat 2047. It is truly an honor to chair a session in the conference and pleasure to review the scholarly contributions presented here. The first paper is by Ms.Shobana, Assistant Professor in Social Work. The paper titled as Social Work as a Strategic Instrument in Advancing the Vision of Viksit Bharat 2047, a multi-level interventional perspective. It presents a well-structured and conceptually grounded discussion on the critical role of the social work profession in India's developmental journey. The author effectively situates social work within Indian historical developmental trajectory, making or moving more welfare-oriented approaches to right-based and practice framework, while aligning it with the national vision of Viksit Bharat 2047. The key strength of the paper lies in the clear articulation of micro, meso, and macro level interventions. The discussion demonstrates how individual empowerment, community mobilization, and policy advocacy together form an integral pathway for inclusive and sustainable development. The one suggestion is the paper could be further strengthened by briefly incorporating one or two illustrative field-based examples or case studies. This would help concretely demonstrate how micro, meso, and macro level social work interventions translate into measurable outcomes aligned with the Viksit Bharat 2047 vision. And this paper successfully bridges policy intent with the lived realities, highlighting how social work functions not merely as a supportive service but as a strategic and operational discipline, essentially in nation building. My suggestion would be to add a short concluding session outlining specific future directions for social work education and practice in the context of Viksit Bharat, curriculum alignment or interdisciplinary collaboration, a digital social work. This could enhance the paper's policy and practice relevance. The paper presented by Ms.Shobana is relevant and a timely contribution that reinforces the importance of human-centered and ethically grounded and community-based approach in achieving the transformative goal of Viksit Bharat 2047. I appreciate the clarity of thought and strong alignment with national and government developmental frameworks. Once again, I congratulate the author for the meaningful contribution, and I also take this opportunity to wish a great success and congratulate Team Vedant Knowledge System for organizing this prestigious international conference on Viksit Bharat 2047. Thank you, and thank you very much.
Good morning, respected chairperson, honorable delegates, and all fellow researchers. I am Dr. Rohit from IIMT University, working as an associate professor in physical education. My paper focused on the role of Swayam, study web, and active learning for young aspirants' mind in promoting innovative teaching methods in higher education in India. In recent years, higher education has undergone a major transformation due to rapid technological advancement and growth demand for flexible and learning-centered educations. In this context, Swayam, launched by government in India in 2017, has emerged as a significant digital interventions aim to providing free, high quality and accessible educations to learners across in the country, especially those who are remote and unreserved regions. The paper highlights how traditional lecture-based teaching methods are increasingly insufficient to meet the learner needs of today's students. To address this gap, innovative approaches such as blended learning, flipped classes, and multimedia-based instructions have joined and gained importance. SWAYAM plays a crucial role in facilitating these methods by offering a wide range of digital learning resources, including video lectures, quizzes, assignment, peer assessments, and discussions forums. These features promote active learning, enhance student engagement, and accommodate different learning styles. This study draws insight from case studies, student feedback, and educator perspectives to examine both benefits and challenges by using SWAYAM. The finding shows that integrating SWAYAM into regular classroom teaching has improved student participations, understanding and complex concept, and academic performance. This blended learning has flipped classroom model supported by SWAYAM allows students to learn theoretical content online at their own pace, while classroom time has used more effectively for discussion, problem solving, and practical applications. This paper also discusses the impact of SWAYAM on educators. SWAYAM provide valuable opportunities for teachers training and professional development, enabling faculty members to adopt digital tools, teachers training, modern pedagogical strategies. Many educators reported that SWAYAM helped them shift from teacher-centered to learner-centered teaching, making classroom interactive, more meaningful and effective. However, this study also identifies certain challenges such as limited internet, lack of digital literacy, resistance to change among institutions, and quality assurance issues. These challenges highlighted the need of improvement in infrastructure, greater faculty support, and enhanced digital trainings. In conclusion, the paper established that SWAYAM is a powerful and transformative platform that is modernized teaching practice in Indian higher educations by improving accessibility, flexibility, and engagement. SWAYAM contributes significantly to conclusive and innovative educations. This paper recommends strengthening internet access, expanding faculty development, and enhancing interactive features to maximize the platform impact. Thank you so much from my side. Have a nice day.
Good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Pravin Kumar, Professor and Director, Department of Physical Education, Desh Bhagat Mandi Govindgarh, Punjab. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Vedanta Knowledge Center for conducting this wonderful conference on Viksit Bharat at 2047 conference. This session or this conference will provide a vision to Indian sportsperson and India that how we can develop ourselves or how we can achieve the target of Viksit Bharat in 2047. I extend my warm welcome to all the participants for this conference, and particularly the participants, those are going to present their paper, research paper in this conference. First, Mr. Rohit Chauhan is working as an assistant professor in the Department of Physical Education, IIMT, Meerut. He is presenting his paper on SWAYAM, leveraging a tool of innovative teaching strategy. He given a very brief description about the online courses which providing a very strong backbone to our education system. It's a platform, online platform, which providing us virtual knowledge or knowledge through virtual mode. All over the world, we can connect ourselves, and it's also support us the concept of Indian Vedic science, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, means whole world is our. this platform provide us same kind of feeling, same kind of knowledge, where we can connect with the scholars, academicians, and we can obtain lot of knowledge about the different domains, and this knowledge help us to create a multidisciplinary research approach which help to develop a domain in multiple way. So the research or the vision of Mr. Rohit Chauhan and Mr. Shubham Kumar is really commendable, and I extend lot of congratulations. I congratulate the scholar for presenting this wonderful paper on this research conference.